Alright, what's good YouTube? Today I'm gonna show you my build for Barbarian. This is the Firequake Hammer of the Ancients Barbarian. We are using Ugly Bastard that converts all your attacks to fire damage. And Rockin' of Boots makes it so when you use a cooldown, you proc a fire burst explosion. And that actually hits for quite a lot. Now, this is pit tier 95. I did end up, you will see in a second, with almost 4 minutes left in the round, which means it's a quite huge reserve, so there is much more potential to push further, but my gear is not the best. I have only one greater graphics items, mainly the legendary gear, and those matter quite a lot, so I'm missing on that department. My masterworks are horrible as well. I need to reset 5 items to hit the right masterworks, which also play a huge role, especially spawning earthquakes. I have a chance of spawning them twice. And then earthquake duration is also very important because, you know, the longer they last on the ground, the more damage you stack. But you can see the damage is pretty damn high because we have spawning a lot of attacks, if you will, a lot of damage numbers per second on this one. So yeah, it's pretty wild. Now on the runes here, we're running the Decrepify from Necromancer. This really helps with executing the mobs because that's what the rune does, what the curse does from Necromancer. And then we have spawning earthquakes by itself when we proc a or evoke a power from different class. I should probably practice more my pulling in the pit because it's not the best. I could probably pull more mobs together, get more clumps and more points for this, but I found 95 pretty fine. Now, Hammer of the Ancients in this setup is to use to proc the big damage multiplier when we overpower with it. And when we overpower, we also trigger this passive in the skill tree called Warpath. Now, one guaranteed overpower is from the Paragon board from Bone Breaker node. And there's another one from Variana, the Mercenary. She has a skill called Earthbreaker. And it's a 17-second cooldown. It makes it so any enemy damaged by that skill will make your attack guaranteed overpower. You can use it, I think, after 3 seconds or not within 5 seconds on the same target. Doesn't matter. Just need to proc it once for the multiplier. So of course, sometimes in these clumps and the rotation, your Bonebreaker guaranteed overpower will be triggered on Groundstomp and whatnot, but it's fine because we'll just trigger Warpath with it. And I'll probably try to find more or better ways to trigger overpower, but that's pretty much so far we have in the game. Now we're trying to use all skills on cooldown to proc Rockin' of Wake because the damage from those boots is actually crazy good. I believe it hits up to 10 million, which is, you know, that's not bad. It's absolutely free damage coming from skills on the boots. So that's what I really like. Now we're playing melee dose for the cooldown reduction, and we are playing the X Ancient's Oath that also has cooldown reduction. You want both on Great Graphics and Masterwork it 3 times, which will put you to 60% cooldown reduction. Because I found it a sweet spot, because if you have too much of a cooldown reduction, the game cannot keep up with low cooldown ability or builds, with piano builds basically. It won't register the skills, so when you press the abilities, only one will be used, the other one will not be used, and by the time, you know, when you have to use it again, then other cooldowns are already up as well. So I think like before my previous version, which you can check in the right upper corner, I did use Harlequin Crest. I maxed out cooldown reduction as much as I could, but it wasn't worth it because you were just missing skills, and that's not what we are after. So this is how it goes in the 95. I'm gonna put you through, take you to the boss. What we got the spirit color here of Frost. So let's take a look. I could probably position this boss a bit better, especially since early on, but it's whatever. My highest hit of the earthquake was around 350 million. It actually goes to up to almost 400 million if we have boss injured, which is below 35% HP. And as you can see, the stagger from Groundstomp is amazing. Groundstomp has a passive where it can become a brawling skill, and it applies vulnerable on the target, so that is our source. And the damage of that skill is actually pretty cracked, because even if you catch random overpower from Bonebreaker on that ability, you can still hit for like 350 million, which is not bad. And we also need to use Hammer of the Ancients actively to proc Starless Sky Ring for the 5 stacks. And also, I just lost my 5 stack there, so because I had to step away. And we also need a 10 stack from Hammer of the Ancients. That means we will get 3% Fury per each stack. That's 30% more Fury generation, which is insane because we have an aspect where, excuse me, if you generate Fury, you will cast Dust Devil, right? It's called Devilish Aspect. So the more Fury you generate, the more Dust Devils you will spawn. So it's also amazing. But primary focus on this build are the Earthquakes. We have double chance to spawn Dust Devil on the one-hander. You want to triple masterwork it. I did not have it. So the gear you will see in the planner is what you should go for. Obviously, if you have more greater affixes, the better. But the gear in the planner does not reflect my gear in this run. Mine is really bad. So I was actually surprised 95 was doable. So this is just a test run. I did only one run of 95 to see if it's doable. Boom, came up with this. So not too bad. I did try 100 here, but it was with the snakes. I hate those. I feel like they are more tanky and whatnot. They also go to goddamn Narnia. When they become unstoppable, they just go to Narnia because some of them are casters. So that was not a good run. And I'm also a big factor in this build. We are running a leap aspect on the amulet, which means your earthquakes will give you damage reduction. And I don't have max roll, and that one is extremely big. If I had it, I would not be as squishy because you could see some of those situations were a bit clunky when it comes to survivability. So on the amulet, I was missing here like 8% damage reduction, which is quite, it's quite a lot. It does stack up quite well, right? So if you're struggling with survivability, I guess you can sacrifice the rune from a Necromancer, the Curse rune, and get Challenging Shout, for example. The setup would look a bit different. I'll probably put it in the planner as well later, what you can do for more survivability. Because maybe for tier 100, it would be probably required, but it's kind of hard to say right now. Maybe not, but another great thing, if you can catch an amulet with greater affix on heavy-handed, oh my god, the damage will skyrocket. Triple masterwork that one, and you're Gucci. That honestly is the one thing I would need to hit or get to hit successfully clear pit 100. But as you can see, almost 4 minutes left on the clear. You can also tank these spikes with 3 debuff stacks and pit 95 with the setup, so that's kind of no problem. So I'm gonna show you the content in the Horde, for example, how this performs. I would tell it performs wonderful. All you gotta do basically until you spawn event, you just gotta stand still, grab mobs, towards you with the steel grasp, spawn ancients, keep throwing Hammer of the Ancients, get those ground stomp down as well. You always gonna do rotation between, you wanna do ground stomp, shout again, and ground stomp, because your shouts will reduce the cooldowns of your active abilities by 2 seconds because of martial glyph. So we can do it back and forth. If you proc 2 shouts at the same time in the rotation, you're gonna miss out on 1 free ground stomp, which is extra earthquake and just damage, right? But as the opener, if you could see on top of the footage, what I do is the opener is Hota first to proc the Ancients first to get me Fury for Hota, then Hota for the Bonebreaker overpower damage multiplier, and then it would be Steel Grasp to proc the Ancient's Oath, Ground Stomp, Double Shout, and Ground Stomp. And then we'll be back and forth, Shout and Stomp. I hope it makes sense. It's more in the planner under the rotation. I'm sorry if I confused you. Maybe it's just my brain, and I just done a blasting stream and grinding for almost 10 hours. So excuse me for that. I will show you, by the way, this run, I don't know what it is, but recently, all the hordes, I don't have any spires for Hellborn or the East Lords. Nothing. It's just all the useless stuff. I mean, this 50% spawn rate is better. I mean, it's not too bad, but this was too bad. You should look at that. I was just hovering over with my mouse on the ether. It looks bad. But honestly, all you need is just 200 for the middle chest for the gear, because getting gear for Barb is probably the worst it has ever been in other season, in my opinion. So, Well, let me fast forward for the boss. For the council. The problem with council is they move a lot, and that's a problem, right? So, excuse me, I gotta take a sip real quick. You could see my gear over there, but I'll talk about it in a second, more about it. So, first boss, absolute flop, right? Because we actually unloaded full on that boss, but yeah, second boss, no problem either, but this one is a bit rough because he teleported away. RIP my earthquakes. The only downside to this build is you need some ramp to spawn these earthquakes, but as you can see, I mean, that was no problem at all, right? So let me get you to the planner and let's talk about the setup and the stuff, right? So The skill overview, Hammer of the Ancients, proc overpower, big multiplier, and warpath because of Bowbreaker. Ancients always open up with this ability because our setup allows us to cast Ancients on non-stop. We have basically no cooldown on this ability, right? So you'll get attack speed increase for faster Hotas to stack Starless Skyring. We will get our Earthquake spawning from Ancients themselves, and you will get Fear generation and damage increase. So that's good. Steel Grasp to proc Ancient's Oath right here. 60% damage they will take from you, which is insane. To group mobs together, this is our Berserking as well if you cannot keep up with Warcry. And Vulnerable doesn't need. We have a Ground Stomp. Rolling Cry for generation, but also to reduce cooldowns of other abilities and Unstoppable. You could see in 2 places on the footage I misplayed twice, or I get CC'd. Warcry, damage increase, Berserking, good stuff. Ground Stomp, vulnerable proc, a lot of damage, and just CC. Technique, we go with 200x, right? Consumables, we're gonna talk about them now, right now. We got Potion with Precision, crit chance and damage, crit damage, very important. That's probably the only one you can use, you should use. Incense, we got Chorus of War, this type 3 incense. Type 1 is, I'm using Strength, Ancient Times. You can use for armor if you need to hit a cap. And type 2 is, I am using max res because I'm missing like 5% resistances, so I just go with that. But you can also use HP or all stats, up to you. Now on the skill tree, the first up we got, doesn't matter where we put 2 points. So Hammer of the Ancients, this is the big Fury gain, 30% more Fury for 5 seconds. That's what we want to keep up with, and as well as Starless Sky. While on the hammer, if you overpower, you will get 40% damage increase for 5 seconds, and this combines well with Warpath. You'll get 12% damage increase. If you have Shroud of False Death, which I have, this is +1 to passives, you'll get 16%. That's 56% damage increase if you overpower. That's insane, right? Ground Stomp, max it out for the cooldown reduction. So there is a cooldown cap of 75%, but if you go beyond that, to go beyond that, the cap, you need to get skill ranks in the Ground Stomp. Again, I don't recommend going all cooldown because the server cannot keep up, but just something to think about. Generates Fury, stun duration, and here's the Brawling skill and applying Vulnerable. Some passives here for max HP and DR. Rallying Cry, you want to get Tactical Rallying Cry. For the resource, the Warcry here for damage, classic. All the passes here for shouts, booming voice, Garaliel, great stuff for reducing mobs damage. We cannot really afford to run DR on the gear because we need damage for glass cannon, so this one helps a lot, right? And with our low cooldowns, we can afford, we have this up non-stop on mobs, right? More DR from aggressive resistance, Battle Fervor. I did not put any points in Prolific Fury because I get that enough from Ugly Bastard. I believe this is 6 or 7 ranks. I don't have greater epics on it. I must work aggressive resistance, so yeah, that's why I didn't put any points in this. This one is just to make the Berserking last longer from Ground Stomp. Because if you use it back and forth, this does increase the duration of Berserking. It was the case last season. I'm not sure if this still is the case, but I think it is. Our passive here, Slaying Strike, damage to injured enemies, Pit Fighter, self-explanatory. All the passes here, you're gonna get Counteroffensive for damage increase. I have 1 point left, I went with DR, 2%, why not? Goes with Bonebreaker board, I'll show later. Repressible, this is our 45 generation, you'll get 2 points in this one because of +1 from the chest piece if you have it. So that's 20% every time you use a Weapon Master Rage Steel Grasp, and this one is like 3-second cooldown. +2 charges, so it's no problem, right? Got the Ancients, max it out for the cooldown reduction. Fury gain, attack speed increase, damage increase, Earthquake spawner, Dust Devil spawner, crazy, right? This ability is just, whew. That's why we're on Ariad's Bearing Pants for that. Heavy-handed, most important passive for damage increase. So all your Earthquakes and Dust Devils and Ground Stone, it's because we cannot assign a weapon to it. It will remember the weapon you use it with. So if you attack with Hammer of the Ancients, that's 200 mace, right? The Earthquakes, Dust Devils, everything just remembers using 200x mace, sorry. So he will trigger heavy-handed for that bad boy. Or Valop, for that matter. These 2 passes are the best for damage increase, right? So, top-notch. Unconstrained for Berserking. Just damage increase in general. Nothing really great. Nothing really, we can take anything else, so yeah. On the Paragon board, the first glyph we go with is a great strength board, so we go with Twister. Max it out. On the second one, we are going with Decimator. This is the best strength board. We get 110 points, so Rumble, definitely put it in here. Get all the strength notes possible. Also great board for damage increase, for damage reduction here as well. Some good stuff. HP. Try to get as much HP as possible. This is the best board in Barbarian. Now this is overpower and vulnerable. We use both, so we make the use of both here as well. Next board, my favorite this season. Very good technique, very good mechanic with this one. So Force of Nature. Now Earthquakes deal more damage scaling from close damage, close enemies damage. I believe the cap for this is 500%, but don't quote me on that, or 550. So all you need is to get Ancient's Oath for close damage. That gives close damage. So down here, right, this one gives close damage. I don't have greater affix on it. If you do have greater affix on it, you probably don't need to run Enter the Temper on the one-hander, which I am. So this is what I need to hit the cap. Just one close damage. Temper everywhere else is just great damage. On this one, we go with Challenger, the new glyph, bonus to normal nodes. So I'm missing a lot of strength as well in my character, so I don't have this either. Again, extra HP increase, but mainly go for this one. This is Dust Devil Size and Earthquake Duration. This is the most important cluster. Get them all. Because this Dust Devil Size does count towards the Fierce Winds right here. And the size caps out at 100%, so you need 100% for this bad boy. Not really, actually. If you have a full roll on this aspect, which I don't again, which is 25%, you only need to reach 75% size. So I'm running it once on the gloves here, and I have it masterwork twice. So with the Paragon board, I'm at 95% right now. If I hit a high roll on the size on temper, it'll be fully maxed out. Next board here, we go with the Bonebreaker. This is the guaranteed overpower. We get some damage reduction here while fortified, so that stacks well with the passive in the skill tree that I showed. More damage reduction while healthy, very important. More HPs, cluster is crazy. And a great board, like good multiplier here, 15%. Once I get more points, I will max these out. Glyph here is Wrath for sure. This is the dexterity board, so crit damage, pick them all up here. Do I have some more points left? I believe I do. So more points would actually go down here. I'm gonna update this. More points will go down here for the last dex node, but we'll get extra overpower damage. So, you know, extra, like the last couple of points in Paragon, you have nowhere else to put them to, so you might as well just go for this, right? On the last board, we go with Blood Rage. We want to get damage from Berserking only on 2-ender. We only need it on the 200 maze here. That's it to reach the cap. Because we put Martial Glyph, and Martial buffs all magic nodes, which is Berserking here. So you don't even need this last one actually to hit the cap. I just have it because it's good damage increase. Try to get all the magic nodes here for the increase, stat increase. Willpower also good. Willpower gives you resist generation for Barbarian, so that's pretty important. More damage reductions here, and some more damage. Great stuff. On the gear, Ugly Bastard, amazing headpiece, so much damage here. Like, ignore Wrath of the Berserker cooldown reduction. That's not why we take this. We don't even need to run that ultimate to make the most use out of this. The main star here, besides the increased fire damage and converting the damage to fire, the lucky hit damage, the chance to deal fire damage, this one actually hits like a truck. Not able to tell you how much the exact number, because there are so many damage numbers on the screen, but this one pumps, man. I wish I could masterwork it 3 times, but we need a DR for survivability. False Death, Get Max, Life GA, and Masterwork it for survivability. You can go all stats or resource, up to you, but I like that. +1 to all passives, big stuff. The gloves here, Retribution. You can honestly get any aspect. This one is Flex, but I like Retribution because Roundstorm stuns, so extra damage. Dust Devil Size, we need it here. You can honestly run Fist of Fate, but you will lose Dust Devil Size. And you cannot run any other boots. We need Ragnarok Wake for the cooldown reduction here. And the fire damage on skill cooldown. That's great stuff. Pants Aerates Bearing for cooldown reduction, max life, resistances. Very easy to hit resistances with these 2 items. So you can put more in the armor on jewelry. 200 is Earthquakes, that's the only maxed aspect I have. So chance for Earthquakes to cast twice, master this bad boys 3 times. Ancient's Oath, cooldown reduction, get a GA, boom. Prioritize GA on cooldown. And even if you have 40% on the tooltip, just go with that. Devilish Aspect on the one-hander. This is the generating Fury, spawning Dust Devils. Good stuff. Chance for Dust Devils to cast twice, get it 3 times proc. My weapon has only once, I think. It's bad. Fierce Winds on the other one-hander. This is the Shout creating Dust Devils, and this is why we stack size. Earthquake Duration, very important. Get it 3 times stacked. Must work. I have it on the ones on my build. Rough. Starless Guy, big damage increase by 50%. Attack speed, crit chance, very good stuff. With my current setup, I have greater graphics on crit chance. I procced it twice Masterworks. I have 86% crit chance. I would love to have a 90%, but it is what it is. Inner Calm on the other ring, very good aspect. Love this stuff. If you want to cast on spot without moving to mobs, hold shift and attack. Hold shift and press your keybinds. That's what I do in Horde. It's good. So Brawling cooldown reduction, this will affect both Warcry and Groundstone because Groundstone is a brawling skill now, right? And the Amulet Book Gathos, very important to get it maxed out if you can. Not only it increases the damage of earthquakes, but the damage reduction is huge here. I wish I had a max roll. And ranks heavy handed, I don't have it GA, I don't have it Masterwork 3 times. If I did, oh boy. Rolling cooldown, great damage, strength, counter offensive, great stuff. Great stuff. I'll put some more text in here what to focus on and whatnot. Now on the runes, I go both in weapons because this replaces the crit damage, but I'd rather have strength in armor than crit damage in weapons, so let's put them in the weapons. So Soul and Tech, this is the evoking power from other class, which is the rune here, the curse from Necromancer. This is this goes 100 offerings, so we're just standing still here and proccing the. If you stand still, you will proc this rune, the curse, and this curse has pretty good AoE around you. And the earthquake will copy the AoE of this rune, so this earthquake is more size than a regular earthquake from a groundstorm, for example. So this one requires 100 offerings, so this one is 150 offering, right? So every second cast, you'll get 3 earthquakes. 3 earthquakes, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You'll proc these so often, it's wild. On the gems, weapon, crit damage. On the armor, strength. And jewelry, up to you, depends on your build. Now, weaknesses and strengths, AoE damage is good. I would say even single target is good because of all these procs, it's not too bad. Sustain is great, you're pretty tanky. The skins, I mean, Garage Hellscream with the weapon. I forgot its name. Oh my god. Garage Hellscream with the weapon. Gorehowl, of course, top notch. Weakness, very high gear requirement at any bar this season. Just like last season. So the rotation, you always want to start with Call of the Ancients. This is to proc the Earthquakes, get you a Fury for Hammer of the Ancients, and you will use this as a second one to proc the Overpower, a big damage multipliers, right? Then you want to keep spamming Hota in between other cooldowns to keep the ring active and the Fury. Steel Grasp to group mobs together into Groundstone to proc vulnerable on the targets and just spawn another Earthquake. And then you will spam Double Shout after the Groundstone to basically reset the cooldown on this Groundstone again. So Double Shout after, I forgot to add Warcry, I'll add it here. But Warcry is just damage buff, sorry. Yeah. And I will add the rotation how to do it after that. While you are in the rotation, you will do shout, groundstone, back and forth, right? Don't use 2 shots at the same time while you're in the rotation and fight. On the Mercenaries, that's like the last thing here. We go with Variana. So Shockwave, the knocking down enemies, not too bad as a form of CC every 11 seconds. But the main thing here is Earthbreaker, 17-second cooldown ability. This will guarantee your hits to overpower. May happen only on the same target, occur only once every 5 seconds. So your next hit against them within 3 seconds is guaranteed overpower. So 17 seconds is not too long. I wish it was shorter, but it's fine. So basically every 14 seconds with Bonebreaker, not too bad. My mouse wheel broke, or it is bored, I don't know. But on the reinforcement, we want Rahir, we want Bastion. And I left this blank. This really depends on you when you feel like you want to use this. I would probably use it on, I don't know, maybe hard to say really. It's up to you. I'll probably use it on Groundstone. If I was not Groundstone, that's a CC. They will not damage you. Steel Grasp. I will go Steel Grasp. Yeah, I'll go Steel Grasp. So when you start the rotation, he will spawn the Bastion on you. no damage increase. He will not get any damage. Yeah, that sounds good. But anyways, I believe we covered everything. This is a bit too long video, my bad. I could go on forever about this build and Barbarian. I really like this synergy. Definitely my favorite build and setup. If they don't break it too much in the future seasons, I can see myself playing this one from the get-go. Great for leveling as well. Very powerful. Great for farming. Undercity, Horde, everything. Love it, really. I will try to get better gear if I can. I will try to push even more pit. I would like to do the triple digits to pit tier 100, but we'll see. But anyways, gamers and gamerettes, I appreciate you all watching. If you made it all the way here, thank you very much. I stream also every day on Twitch and YouTube. The links will be in the pinned comment section. And yeah, thank you very much. Until next time, you have a great one and peace out.